This is a rebuild completion video on engine number FM50896UE. The rebuild was completed on 11/17. It was tested on 11/19 of 2018. This is a complete rebuild of a 1500 Triumph engine. Came to me as a core. The crank was turned to 10 thousandths under on the rod and main bearings. The block was a line bored. The cylinders were bored to 20 thousandths over. It received new flat top pistons, rod small end bushings, valve guides, springs, rocker shaft, main and rod bearings. The valves were ground. The block and head were tank cleaned and magnafluxed. The covers were powder coated red and the block painted black. The engine was assembled by J-Mac Engine Shop. The initial startup oil pressure was 72 psi. I allowed it to warm at idle to 160 degrees Fahrenheit. At temperature, the idle oil pressure was 63 psi. I drove it 120 miles, holding the engine to 2,500 to 3,000 RPM. Under load, the oil pressure never dropped below 45 psi, and the temperature never climbed above 165 degrees Fahrenheit. After the test drive, I retorqued the head and adjusted the valves. I did a compression test on all cylinders. Number 1 was 190, number 2 185, number 3 195, and number 4 185. The reason for the variation between the numbers is because the rings are no doubt not quite seated, and those numbers will become even in the next 1,000 miles. The main reason for the higher compression numbers is the flat top pistons, and I had the machine shop shave 50 thousandths off the compression side of the head. The head is the TKC 2748 head, which was a low compression head, and there was plenty of room to shave 50 thousandths off to help increase the compression ratio. The only other modification from stock was I drilled out the center main oil gallery to 5/16 of an inch to provide more oil to the number 2 and number 3 rod bearings. So with that, I'm going to start the engine, and because of the noise, you won't be able to hear me speak, and I'll then move the camera and let you see what the gauges are reading. And so with that, I'm going to start it. The oil pressure at idle is about about 55 psi. The water temperature is a little bit above 140, so it cooled off just a little bit, but you can see that the oil pressure is doing very well. And that completes this video.